Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of Best of the Box, number 10. So as part of my 11,000 CD collection, I've got 103 boxes like these that you see behind me. Each of them hold 90 CDs, which add up to 9,270 CDs. And so for this particular series here, I thought it'd be fun to pick a different box for each episode and go through the contents with you. And so past boxes have included things like just sort of catch-all boxes, different CDs, things of that nature. Glam metal box, a new wave of British heavy metal box. I've done one on bootlegs, compilation collections, new releases from 2021. And for this episode here, we are going to do one that I'm calling lockdown music. So it is 90 CDs of stuff that I bought during the 100-day lockdown period that was for New York City. So before we dive into this though, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with Best of the Box, episode number 10, lockdown music. So this is all music that I bought during those 100 days in lockdown. Luckily, Amazon was still shipping, so I just ordered things like crazy with nowhere to go. I was online a lot shopping, and this is some of what I got, because I actually got more than just this, but this here is the bulk of it and sort of the best of the best, the creme de la creme. And so we're just going to dive into it. This box itself, it's not in any particular order per se, definitely not alphabetical or anything of that nature. And I'm going to show you the two things that I actually had on order that arrived like the day or two after we went into lockdown, and I kind of thought these would be the last albums I'd get for a long time, but like I said, luckily Amazon continued shipping and everything. It was these two Steve Lukather albums here. This one here just simply called Lukather, and it's actually got some stuff by Eddie Van Halen on it, which was of interesting note. And then this one from 2012 here called Transition. And so those two things were coming. I got those. I sort of celebrated them. And then I wasn't too sure about things, but I was able to continue on, and I got a lot of different variety here. My musical taste went up and down the whole time, hitting on a bunch of different things. So next one up, Carl Dixon, Unbroken. This one here, Carl Dixon coming from Coney Hatch, so that was cool. Picked this up too. I also explored a lot of things that were I didn't have in the collection, been looking for a long time, but never just did hard searches for. Found them on eBay, ordered them, and got them. So like this one here, Gary Laffey, and this one here being called Money and the Magic, and he's from the band Girl, which featured Phil Lewis of LA Guns and Phil Collen of Def Leppard, an early on band from those guys. So he was the other guitar player in the band. I've enjoyed following his career and stuff that he's done since then. Destinia, Metal Souls. This one is a band that's put together by Nozumu Wakai, Japanese guitarist who is a shred master, does amazing stuff. Worked with Paul Shortino of Rough Cut. But this one here has Ronnie Romero on vocals on it, as well as Marco Mendoza on bass and Tommy Aldridge on drums. It's out on the Frontiers Records label, so worth checking out for that. Picked up a couple newer rock bands, Midnight City and Nitrate, both good stuff featuring Rob Wild on it. Like that, modern sort of sleaze metal sound. There's good bands doing it there, one of them. Picked up Riot 5, which is the newer version of Riot that's continuing, no original members in the lineup. This one here featuring, I'm totally not remembering his name, Todd Michael Hall on vocals here, which was the reason I picked this up. He's the guy that had appeared on, what was it, one of those singing shows and did so well kind of a thing, and just great that he was coming from a power metal band like Riot at the time. Zach Starr's Burning Star. Former, I'm trying to, where did he come from? Burning Star. Sorry, you guys will remind me, I'm sure, but after he left the main band that he was part of, then he did Burning Star, and these guys just continuing on here. And I think I want to say this one here, let's see who the singer was in this one, if I can find it fast enough. Todd Michael Hall. So I knew there was a reason I picked these two up together. So Both of these were Todd Michael Hall vocalists on there. All right, picked up another Riot 5 album here. Really good stuff too. Definitely enjoying that. Hope those guys continue for a while. Here's one that I had a different version of. I never had this one, which was something that came with one of the metal magazines, and then later it got a real release. And I never liked that mix of it. Manowar, Lords of Steel. This one here called the Hammer Edition, I guess, came with Hammer magazine. And so this one was a 10-track version as opposed to the one that was released. But this one here, I actually liked the mix on it a lot better than what they ultimately released. So I finally tracked that down. Also picked up this Manowar, Fighting the World, which happens to be my favorite of all of their albums. Picked up this guy, Misha Calvin, Evolution and Evolution 2. And the reason I picked this one up is I found out that Tony Martin of Black Sabbath sang for them. Also Ian Parry does some vocals. The second one here does not feature Tony Martin, but it does have Ian Parry on it, and Dave Tooze, I think is how you say his name. And then I picked up this project here, which is from Doogie White after he left Rainbow. So Cornerstone, no particular order here, but I picked up 4 of these releases. All really good stuff, sort of melodic, hard rock style music, really good. Definitely in the vein of Rainbow and Deep Purple. So I also picked this up, Demon's Eye, which is a group, Deep Purple tribute group, and this one happens to also have Doogie White as the vocalist on it. So a lot of these you're seeing, I would get into a vein of things. Midnight Blue being one of his earliest projects from Doogie White. So picked that up too. That was something that I remembered the name, didn't know a lot of. Another one from Doogie White, Chain. Picked that up. These two are much different style than we know him for in terms of the Rainbow and Deep Purple sound, but they were worth getting into the collection. And then he has a project called La Paz that he was in before he got into Rainbow. And so also have a Doogie White solo album, and then 3 of these La Paz releases here. This one being the newest one. All of them definitely worth checking out. This one here, very much the solo album, very much in the vein of Deep Purple and Rainbow, if you like that sort of stuff. Picked up River Dogs California, which features Vivian Campbell from currently Def Leppard, but also White Snake. And I picked up a couple Triumph releases, filling out my catalog. These were the 2 that I didn't have in my collection. So this one, In the Beginning, and then Rock and Roll Machine. Both very good. A little bit different style on each because they hadn't quite found their formula yet on either of those. And I picked up, being in that Doogie White Deep Purple vein of stuff, I picked this up, Purple Rainbows, which was a cool compilation of projects all related to the Deep Purple and Rainbow sound, or not sound, but band. So they do have Deep Purple on here, but they've also got Rainbow, White Snake, Graham Bonnet, Dio, and more on this compilation. So that was kind of a cool thing to just throw on. And then I picked this up, the self-titled Trouble album featuring Eric Wagner. This was right before he passed away from COVID, so didn't expect that to happen. It was kind of a bummer after I had picked that up and then getting that news. Picked this up, Orchestral, and this one here called Pioneers of Space, so a little side project from Hawkwind. And then I got All Aboard Skylark, and this one here is a cool double album featuring, of course, the studio album All Aboard the Skylark, but also acoustic days on here. And it's the price of a regular disc, so not paying bonus for that. All right, then I got big into Phenomena. So picking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 releases here very quickly. This one here, Still the Night. Some of these I may have gotten a tad after this, and I've just filed them in here, like I believe this one here, which is a collection of all the Glenn Hughes material, because this one came out late 2020. But did pick this one up here, the anthology of that. Phenomena was, trying to think, White Snake guitarist Mel Galley, and project that he had put together with his brother, and they did this here, and then they featured various singers, and it was concept album. So Dream Runner, I had this one, but I didn't have the remastered version of it, and then the debut, Phenomena, all very good. And these were later ones here. So this is, I said Mel Galley. Tom Galley, I guess, put the project together. Mel Galley, his brother, played on these things, but they all say from the project of Tom Galley. So just clarifying that for you guys. Hard to keep all this straight sometimes, as you can imagine. J.K. Northrup, who's a guitar player, is really great. This is a best of, who never quite got his due, but he played different. I think he played a little bit with Montrose, and he's played on and off with different people. He was part of a reformed version of XYZ with Tony Illuz, but just never quite got the due that he deserves, and that's a little best of his there. But this project here, Gypsy Soul, which features J.K. Northrup on guitar, but also Johnny Edwards, who of course played in Montrose, King Cobra, then would go on to Front Foreigner. I've heard me talk about him. I like him, the One Foreigner album that he did, Unusual Heat. This is a great project there that he did, and got a proper mastering and release here. Those tracks have been out under different various things, J.K. Northrup album and so forth, but this here got a proper release on Escape Records. Gathering of Kings was a new band I found, looking for something that had the sound of Asia, that same sort of melodic rock from the 80s. This album here, in Group of Guys, does that very well. Hard to come by though. I've only found the one. I believe they have 2 albums out. All right, Pink Cream 69, the only album I didn't have in my collection. I've long followed these guys really for the fact that I found the band due to Andy Duras being their vocalist early on before leaving to go front Halloween. But their continued performance with, I believe David Redman is his name, has done very well. So Michael Monroe, a best of, just again something I didn't have in the collection, nice to throw in. Jet Boy, brand new album called Born to Fly. Hadn't picked it up at the time. It was 2019 release, so still fairly new when I picked that up. Picked this one up, Smokin' Delta Voodoo. So I had a version of this on a very small label, not very good in terms of the artwork and everything, and it was really a burned copy. And this one here, it finally is getting a real proper release with some bonus tracks and things of that nature. And then back tracks also from Every Mother's Nightmare. Sorry, both of these, Every Mother's Nightmare, if I didn't state that. So, great glam metal band there. We got Amazing Disgrace from the Choir Boys. Choir Boys being in the public eye because they have recently just terminated their longtime frontman Spike after 30 years. Very shocking. Then we've got Tough, a little bit of image updo, I should say, redo, trying to make themselves look a little heavier and harder. Not sure about that, but do enjoy the band, so I picked it up. And then Tiger Tails, Blast. So this one was a cool one. These guys are always changing and doing something. Great White, a live album with the newest lineup of the band, featuring Mitch Malloy as the singer. So cool little live project there. Then we got Marty Balin and Lucky Twofer on one disc here. 2 of his albums on one disc. There's the other album cover on the inside of it, but that's the one we get on the outside. So, Jefferson Airplane Starship member there. Voodoo Hill, which features Glenn Hughes playing along with Dario Molo. And so 3 of their albums together, Glenn Hughes playing in Phenomena. So of course I was into Glenn Hughes and picking up some other stuff that he had done. This was a cool project. Emerald Sabbath Ninth Star tribute album, but featuring various people who have played with Black Sabbath over the years. And so you've got Adam Wakeman, Bev Bevan, Tony Martin, Bobby Rondinelli, Ron Keel, who auditioned for the band, didn't get it, but if you want to know what he would have sounded like with the band, he sings 3 songs on there. Trevor Boulder, this one here called Sail the Rivers, and this is a posthumous release. So he had passed away, and this was a solo album he was working on, and that came out. And then Ellefson, Picked this one up. This one came out a while back in 2019 as I was gearing up for this one here called No Cover, and I love the throwback to the Def Leppard On Through the Night album cover. Always thought that was one of the best album covers ever, so it made me want this one here, which is a bunch of cool cover songs on it. It's got Judas Priest, Twisted Sister, Dead Kennedys, Billy Idol, Def Leppard, Wasted, AC/DC. It's got a fight song. They're all over the place on it, but really cool stuff. And then Tora Tora put out a 5-song acoustic EP simply called Unplugged, and that came out during lockdown and the pandemic, trying to make a little bit of money because they weren't able to tour. So I purchased that along with a shirt and some other stuff from those guys. 2 Ron Keel albums here. This one here being Fight Like a Band, Ron Keel Band, and Ron Keel solo album itself, Metal Cowboy Reloaded. It was a reissue of previous solo album he had put out. Then I got into some melodic rock stuff, and I actually picked up 2 related Journey things that I didn't have. Neil Sean's solo album, Late Night, very good. And then the one Journey album I didn't have in my collection called Dream After Dream, which was a soundtrack. It does feature Steve Perry, but mostly instrumental type stuff, and not really in the vein of the big albums that we know by them. It was just something they did, sort of a day off. They went and took care of that, did that project as a little side thing. All right, and then as I mentioned, the melodic rock stuff. So From the Inside project here on Frontiers Records, one of those ones where they put the project together, but this one here featuring Danny Vaughan of Taiketo. And then Radiation Romeos, which featured lead vocalist from Steve Stevens' Atomic Playboys. Just sort of thumbing through it real quick if I can find his name. And of course, I'm not coming across it fast enough. Perry McCarthy. There you go. So he's the vocalist, and that's why it's called Radiation Romeos, as they tie into that Steve Stevens project he was part of. David Glenn Isley album. And we've also got Burning Kingdom, another thing that Danny Vaughan of Taiketo did, another project. So just collecting up a bunch of stuff. I'm obviously a fan of Taiketo, which is why I enjoyed that. This was a cool one here. Holter. This is from Tron Holter, who's worked with Jorn on a lot of different things. And if you're a fan of Jorn, then you'll definitely dig this. It's a continuation of the, there's a Dracula, sort of a rock opera that he had done with Tron Holter and Jorn did together. This is a continuation of that, just without Jorn. Oh, actually, here you go. I can show it to you. I had apparently filed it away in here. Here is that project. This thing, amazing. And if you really love this, do check this one out. They go hand in hand. So this one I actually had earlier, but you can see I filed it in with this because of the relation between those. So there you go. All right, we got Phantom 5, and Phantom 5, Michael Voss project. Everything Michael Voss does is very good. They've done 2 albums, so I did pick that up. And again, another Frontiers Records project. They've done so many of these. Some of them I will pass by, wait until I'm into the artist to pick something up from them. David Glenn Isley and Craig Goldie. So great to have these 2 guys back together, playing together. Craig Goldie from, Dio's band, and David Glenn Isley together. And then we've got All 41, and this one has Terry Brock and Robert Berry playing on it. Gary Pill and Matt Starr. So nice, lineup of those 4 guys. All of this stuff in the melodic rock vein of things. Key of Hearts. So Key Marcello and Tommy Hart from Fair Warning and Key Marcello from Europe pair up together and did this album. And then now they're doing Out of This World, which is a continuation of the sound from Europe and that album that Key Marcello plays on. And Mad Max 35, so 35th anniversary album from that great band. And bought some Bonfire, Temple of Lies, and I think that was just a one-off album that I didn't have in the collection. Here was a cool one that I didn't even know existed that I picked up at the time called The Sign, and this one here is featuring, so I have to thumb through some of these sometimes to get the names out of them. Randy Jackson, guitar player from Zebra, doing a project that didn't get a lot of attention at the time when it came out, but that double album was a reissue there, and so I was glad to come across that. Then there was a best of from Heavy Pettin, great band, part of the new wave of British heavy metal scene, much in the vein of Def Leppard. If you like Def Leppard, Heavy Pettin, their first two albums, very much like Def Leppard. Then they actually put out a 4-track EP called Foreplay, so that was good timing, picked that up. Steinhardt Moon, Robbie Steinhardt of Kansas, and a project he did in 1995, actually from the Tampa area where he lived. So that was cool. I'm from the Tampa area, so it was great to get that. Steeler, Come Hell or High Water, or Hollywood, Hell or Hollywood, from 81 to 82. Compilation of stuff. Most of it is in really good condition. There's some of it that's a little iffy in terms of quality, just being collected up there by Ron Keel and put out. Picked up some John Norm from Europe, solo projects that he did. This one really good. Worlds Away with Kelly Keeling on vocals. Another Destination, I believe he's also the vocalist on that one. This one here in particular, very much in the vein of the Dokken album that John Norm plays on. And then I picked up a couple Budgie releases, these two here, both of these being part of the remastered series. When I've been able to find those, I've picked those up. And the last two things were related to Bob Kulick's passing at the time. Skull, their second album, and Murderer's Row, both of these being 2 CD reissues of things, and picking these up and adding them to the collection. Glad to see a bunch of stuff getting released in the wake of his passing, celebrating his life and times. And there you go. That is Best of the Box, number 10, Lockdown Music Edition, and 90 CDs that I picked up, or roughly that I picked up at that time. A few extra things thrown in there for good measure, just because they file away and go there in the relation of things. And, not always a rationale behind how these boxes are set up, but that was this particular box. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll leave a link to the last Best of the Box number 9, which is compilation collection number 2. You can check that out. And of course, with each one, you can successively go backwards and keep viewing these. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.